5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate very much your generous invitation to be here tonight. You bear heavy responsibilities these days.
Welcome to Stock Legends Radio Show, seeking answers, opinions, and the inside scoop, putting you in the front seat on Wall Street.
In today's market,
This is breaking news. Where is it going next?
StockLegends.com.
Welcome to the Stock Legends Radio Show, Episode 7. Please welcome today's hosts, myself, Quick Draw, also Matt Chart, our Senior Technical Analyst. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Hey there, Quick. How you doing, buddy?
Another day in paradise here. We have an exciting show lined up for you today. We'll be doing our market recap segment of the show, Matt and I, and then we'll be moving into Thomas Allen as a special guest from Trader.com. That's TRADDR.com. And also Premier Trader, big board trading chat room for lower price NASDAQs. It's an excellent chat room, so look forward to the second part of this segment. Matt, before we get into the meat and potatoes of topics which we would like to discuss today, let's take a quick look at the U.S. markets and what traders should expect in the coming days, weeks.
If everyone takes a moment to look at StockLegends.com, we added a new section on the website called News and Reports, and there's a comprehensive analysis report with charts that everyone can take a look at. So if you want to go there right now, then you can sort of have a general idea of what we're talking about when I'm talking about gold or silver or the US dollar. You can kind of see the chart visually as well to help put things in better perspective for you. Taking a look at the markets in general, the stock market does look like it's finished its rally. We're seeing a correction here occur, and we're probably going to see a lot more downside over the next few weeks in the coming months. We've got some support here around the mid 10,500 range on the Dow, and it doesn't look like that support could possibly hold. As we've mentioned numerous times, the lack of quantitative easing in the United States, a QE3 package was sort of hinted at a few months ago. It never came out, and we're seeing technically the markets are breaking down. We're going to retest that old support, and unlikely that unless we get some sort of economic miracle that we're going to see any sort of recovery in the next little while. We're looking possibly at a Dow of 9,800 to 9,600 on the charts, so that looks like a very likely target. We could see that in the next 2 months.
Now, how about the physical metals? We see metals coming back down. Looks like gold is around 1684. What would be causing the reduction in price in the physical metals segment?
It's a very complicated market. Technically, it does look like we've reached another peak here in the precious metals. The precious metals do have a tendency of following the overall markets. So as we're seeing a breakdown in the overall stock markets, commodities and precious metals in most indications do follow that pattern. So we're seeing precious metals come down. We saw silver at a recent high just in late October of almost $36, currently trading just above 31, just above $30, and we have some more downside risk on the precious metals markets. We could see moves back below 30 into the mid 25 range again in the next few weeks for silver, and gold, same thing again. We hit a peak here of just over 1,800. We're starting to see a breakdown technically of gold as well, and we could see another back into the $1,500, $1,600 range in the next few weeks as well. Currently traded up as close at 1682 on Friday, and so we could see more downside risk here in the next few weeks in the precious metals markets as well. The US dollar has been having a nice healthy recovery. It's that flight to quality as we're seeing all kinds of problems in the euro, and we'll talk a little bit on that in the next segment of our update. But I think we should talk about a few things that happened this weekend with Thanksgiving, Black Friday. Everyone's getting out shopping. We see all kinds of crazy behaviors of people in the market. Their shopping habits are just, I don't know how to really even say.
Well, it's good to see that the U.S. still has their aggression and vigor. If you were out on Black Friday, we hope you brought some form of means to protect yourself physically. Actually, let's talk about this next segment. Women pepper sprays shoppers to get iBox. Now, that's
Xbox.
or Xbox. We saw a couple years ago A lot of shoppers, like in Walmart, they were getting trampled trying to get to these sales. It was all over the news. Now we had a lady that actually brought a weapon and pepper sprayed shoppers to get an Xbox. I mean, what were the savings on the Xbox? I think it was $20 or $30.
I don't even know, but I mean, it's kind of unfortunate to see this sort of behavior from people that they're willing to create harm to other people just to save a few dollars on something manufactured in China. I mean, the United States is basically entering a depression. We're still in a recession for sure since 2007 occurred, and all people can think about is getting the next cheap, item to give to their kid for Christmas. It's such a materialistic sensibility, and
Yep.
I just hope people come to their senses one day and realize that trying to grab the best deal may not be the most important thing in the world.
I think this generation may be up in line for a little bit of poetic justice in the coming years. So hopefully some lessons will be learned. Let's move our topics to some more important issues, things that might affect the traders. They're affecting where we wake up and work from bell to bell every single day. I would like to direct the focus on MF Global, John Corzine. He resigned from MF Global on November 4th. Now, a little background on him. He was the governor of New Jersey in 2006 to 2010. He was in the United States Senate from 2001 to 2006. More importantly, was the chairman and senior partner at Goldman Sachs, where he spent more than 20 years. Now, let's dig through this pile of rubble. A lot of people might be familiar with what unfolded at MF Global. Everything from them going Chapter 11 and 435 insider traders moved their accounts a week before they filed Chapter 11 to protect them assets, and it wasn't small accounts. We're talking about billionaires that held accounts, but the average man, of course, wasn't on that mailing list. They were sank with the ship. They weren't allowed to take physical delivery. How does something like this happen? Also, he was a broker and did not renew his paperwork with FINRA, so he could not even legally conduct broker services, yet he's the head of MF Global, intertwined with this whole conspiracy. It seems like FINRA would have to know about this. How can you have the senior member of such a large division not even be licensed to conduct business in his current position? What's your take on this?
It's pretty insane when you look at the magnitude of this. I mean, we have FINRA involved here. We're going to get a hearing in mid-December. It looks like the House panel is going to be holding a hearing on MF Global, so hopefully we'll see some more information come out of this. We've got at least $1.2 billion that have gone missing from traders' accounts. These were active traders that were trading the futures markets, waiting for precious metal delivery on gold, things like that. A lot of people may be familiar with Gerald Celente. He's been very public and active on the fact that he got taken for over $100,000 in his trading account. He woke up one day, got a phone call, and they told him he had a margin call on his December contracts. He had no idea what was going on. They took the money out of his account, told him to put more money in to meet the margin call, and it's absolutely insane. I mean, this organization bet on European bonds, and now we're seeing these problems in Europe. Well, this company was so heavily leveraged that the small moves in the European bonds caused this company to file bankruptcy. They stole money from people's accounts. They don't know where it is. Apparently, some of it showed up at JP Morgan. First they say it's there, and then they say it's not. No one knows where it is. People don't know if they're getting their money back or what's happening. There's a lot of fraud here. And the fact that this guy has got intimate ties with a lot of people in politics. It looks like, I believe he was fundraising for Hillary Clinton. He's got connections with Bill Clinton. This guy is one of a very, very, very powerful person in politics and finance, very huge player in Goldman Sachs, and now there's fraud involved here. It's concerning because people that believe they have an account, they've got money in the account, just stolen right out from underneath them. So this could be just one of many frauds that could be coming to the surface in the next several years. So, I mean, it's a concern for everyday traders, people that buy shares in stocks. One day they could possibly wake up and the trading account that they've got money in has been stealing money out of their account. So It certainly is a concern. Now people are pointing fingers at Jefferies, which is another institution that is very heavily leveraged. There's no indication that there's been any fraud made, but they were also heavily leveraged, well above the industry average of a lot of these other sorts of brokerage firms. And so now people are speculating that they may be filing bankruptcy in the near future. And you've seen their stock price take a big hit from over $20 down to around $9. So had a 50% pullback just in the last several months. So there's concerns there as well that this company could possibly going under. And This is still in the early stages. This has only happened a few weeks ago, and we could see more things happen in the next several months.
We do want you to take front row attention to the kind of changes in the market that are taking place. These banks are becoming leveraged. They make bad decisions. Going back up to Goldman Sachs, I think it's highly unlikely that somebody that's had a broker's license for 12 years just woke up and said, hey, you know what, I forgot to re-register. He's the senior partner, MF Global. I mean, he's the go-to guy. Hundreds of thousands of traders through this broker service, and he's not even licensed. Is FINRA turning a cheek to this? Is this tied in with government and big politics? We keep seeing these major names look like they're nominating their people to fill these positions and then protecting them above and beyond the law and average standards of trading. I know I couldn't run MF Global without a broker license. I'm so nervous even putting certain things out without 5-page disclaimer here and there. You know, they're watching us. I mean, how does this level of fraud leak into the system and be allowable by any means? Is it because of the connections to these high grade politics? I mean, is it because of Goldman Sachs? I mean, how does this happen?
Confidence is clearly being shaken here, and it's fraud in all sorts of levels. I mean, this is just one that's come to the surface, but we saw fraud in the housing market, and there were so many different things that were connected and intertwined with that through the regulation agencies, and now possibly maybe FINRA could possibly be compromised here as well. We don't know how deep the fraud goes, but we know the fraud exists. And it's not just in these markets, but also in the precious metals markets. And I think this is clearly why a lot of countries, central banks, China, Venezuela, and Russia are looking at this, and they're concerned, and they're saying we need to protect ourselves. There's counterparty risk out there. Counterparty risk, for those that don't know, is a counterparty, someone else holding your asset. If you hold your asset in your hand, something physical and tangible, there is no counterparty risk. And Venezuela was just in the news. They took delivery of their first shipment of gold from Europe. They said, we don't trust the Western governments holding our gold. They've had 160 tons sitting in U.S., Canadian, and European banks. I'm sorry, it was 365 tons. They're taking 160 tons currently from those vaults and bringing it into their own country so they have physical possession of it, because they don't trust the Canadian, U.S., or European banks, because to them they're a counterparty risk. And
now that's nearly $11 billion worth of gold. So what happens here? You know, we see a run on the banks. Okay, people want to close their accounts and things like that. But what happens when we start seeing large international run on Western banking system where people don't trust even having their gold? These other countries don't even trust having their gold in our banks. When they start pulling out 11 billion, 20 billion, 30 billion, I mean, it has to get a lot harder to manipulate that system, which we've been doing so well for so long, in my opinion. What happens? I mean, this has to cause a domino effect, which is going to put pressure on our financial institutions, not to mention, you know, our partner countries' financial institutions that we're so intertwined with, which necessarily isn't a good team to be involved with anyways, because their problems are worse than us. I mean, what kind of problem could this cause?
Well, I mean, this is a huge problem, and we're seeing the problems manifest themselves firstly in Europe, and with the euro and these countries unable to come to agreements and decisions, and we're seeing these countries in massive amounts of debt. It's an insane solution that these central banks have come up with by loading them up with more debt. I mean, the solution to debt isn't to give them more debt. It's insane. So what is going to happen down the road? All it does is prolong that problem and just kick the can down the road a little bit longer. And now the UK government is now told the Daily Telegraph, and this is a quote from one of the senior ministers there. They told the Daily Telegraph this: it is in our interest that they keep playing for time because that gives us more time to prepare. And they're referring to the preparing for the collapse of the euro. This is the UK government. Britain is coming forward and saying that they're putting in contingency plans They're preparing to warn their citizens and to prepare for a euro collapse. They said it's not a matter of if, it is just when it's going to happen. It's all a matter of time. So whether this happens 1 month from now, it's unlikely. 2 years from now, possibly 5 years from now, who knows when it'll happen, but it will happen sooner or later. There's just far too many problems in the euro right now. People cannot come to a solution. And it's the same thing with the U.S. government, possibly facing debt downgrades yet again. We had the super committee, the super Congress come together. They were supposed to be able to find a solution and start slashing spending because the government deficit is continuously growing, approaching $15 trillion. It doesn't seem like there's any end in sight. I mean,
my favorite sentence from that particular segment is consequences of a final collapse that would leave them unable to access bank accounts or even withdraw cash. So this is something that was put out by the diplomats that went out to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of British citizens that said, and I'll repeat that, financial collapse that would leave you unable to access your bank accounts or even withdraw cash. So they're already preparing for the shock wave. They're desensitizing the public, starting to get them mentally prepared for what they feel is inevitable enough to make a public announcement saying, you know, we just want to let you know it could be tomorrow and it could be in 2 years. You might go to the ATM, you might not be able to pull out cash, and you're going to be on your own. So to be a citizen there, it has to be scary to be caught up between that. Well, when's it going to happen? What's really going on? The average person doesn't have the knowledge, insight, or time on their hands to be able to filter through these international economic challenges and get the real story. That's why we're here, trying to keep people informed, trying to let them know what's breaking worldwide. And you know what? Right now, if you're a trader or anybody, even if you have a bank account, you have to be going into red alert at a 6 or a 7 magnitude out of a 10-point scale, and really on watch and trying to protect your assets. I personally think everybody needs a small stash of physical silver or gold regardless, and I'm on the extreme end. I'm a Marine. I've been there, done that. You know, I check my supplies weekly. You know, I have food storages. Who knows what's going to happen in this world, but you want to keep on top of this breaking news, things like this. I mean, it's that important.
And I think people just need to come to terms with what's really going on in the world markets, and that the solutions that they're putting in place are not working, yet they just continue down the same policy paths, and something different needs to occur, or we're going to see even more serious problems. I mean, they've kicked the can down the road from what happened in 2007. I mean, all these bailouts have come to an end, and the problems have just surmounted. We see unemployment continue to rise. People are on food stamps. 1 in 7 Americans are currently living on food stamps. That's an astronomical number that people cannot even afford to feed themselves in the United States. It's scary.
Well, it's because the rehabilitation process has been left alone. You know, instead of saying, hey, we'll give you this for this amount of time, but you must do this. No, they're not saying it. They're saying, hey, stay at home, take some food. You want a little rent. You want some money for your gas. Go and do whatever you want to do, tax-free, to raise funds, and we'll continue to pay for you. Why change the lifestyle? I'd love to live in a cave where somebody's bringing me fruit multiple times a day. Now, let's move our focus out of the euro into another powerhouse. Russia officially adds 19.5 tons of gold reserves in October alone. Those are staggering enough numbers to actually make the headlines. What is their philosophy behind this? I mean, it's probably obvious why they're doing it, but why gold and not silver? And what do they usually move monthly? Is 19.5 tons of gold a lot? I mean, what's even the cash value in that? I don't even know. I mean, how do you even put a number on it? Sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. Currently, Germany, in perspective, has 3,300 tons of gold. 19.5 tons of gold is a significant amount of gold reserves. Russia has been continuously increasing their gold reserves. This is not the first time they've purchased gold. They've been doing it for a number of years now. And it is countries like China has been importing gold and silver at feverish amounts. Russia and Venezuela, these countries see the writing on the wall. They realize the problems that are going on. Our media is not telling us that the problems are persistent and are expanding. They're just telling us, hey guys, relax, everything's being okay, with the exception of the UK government. Hey guys, prepare for a euro collapse. These guys know what's going on. They can read the writing on the wall. They are accumulating physical precious metals into their central bank holdings, because when the fiat paper currencies collapse, and history will tell you they always do. If you look back, there have been thousands of paper currencies. They always collapse. They have about an average lifespan of about 60 years. The entire world went off the gold standard in 1971. So if you want to do the math, we're about 40 some years into paper currencies. I mean, we're seeing problems occur, and this is how the paper currencies collapse. When you start to increase the amount of currency in circulation at an exponential rate, which is what's been happening with the bailout processes, it starts to create currency instability, and it creates a currency crisis. And this is what's going to happen in the euro. The euro is going to eventually collapse. If they continue with these bailouts, printing more and more euros, you're going to see it collapse. This is why gold has been running since 1970 at $35 an ounce to almost $2,000 an ounce in only 40 years. This is why gold is moving. Gold is a currency. It's just not considered a currency by our culture. If you go to India, if you go to China, if you go to Venezuela and Russia, these central banks understand the importance of gold and that it will become a monetary asset again down the road. The IMF and the Western central banks are trying to do everything they can in their power to prevent this from happening, but it's inevitable. History doesn't often repeat, but it often rhymes, and we'll see fiat currencies rhyme and collapse again, and we'll see people want to move to a stable current asset, and that will very likely be gold or silver. We could have other asset-backed currencies, like having an oil-backed currency or something, but people will want something that will have some sort of tangible backing and cannot be debased or monetized by a central bank to the extent that it's currently been done.
It seems like the buddy system is no longer working. You give someone the power to hold your money, and what they do is they become a superpower. They tie in with government. They take democracy out of the equation. They do insider moves to protect their own assets and manipulate the people whose money are in the bank. So let's take a look at Goldman explains what the super committee failure means. Now, Matt, this particular article is going to be way over my head. It means highlighted though says no ratings downgrades for now, but another negative outlook seems possible. I don't really like hearing from Goldman. I kind of feel like they were born with two horns on their forehead. But what exactly does this particular segment mean, and what is it referring to?
The super committee was installed into place to find some sort of agreement to cut spending from the United States government. Now, they recently failed to make an agreement. Unfortunately, the United States deficit is what they're saying it will continue to expand at the current rate that it's in. They are having insignificant budget cuts, if any at all. All the proposed budget cuts won't even begin until 2013. That's 2 years from now. So we're going to have to continue to increase the national debt. And that, of course, puts risk for U.S. bonds. If you look at a U.S. bond chart, I mean, over the last several years, it has been moving higher and higher. But what's been happening is the rating agencies now are saying your debt is becoming more risky. We saw a debt downgrade from AAA to AA just a few months ago. And now the rating agencies, although no action has been taken at this point in time, they are saying negative outlook is possible. So the next time these rating agencies decide to review the U.S. debt, there is a very high possibility that we will see another debt downgrade. Now, what does that mean for you?
Well, how often do they do it first? How often do they meet and decide the determination of whether or not it's downgraded?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Okay. Must have been a really good question.
The next time they meet, there's a very high likelihood that we'll see a U.S. debt downgrade. So what does that mean for you or I? Well, the last time we saw the debt downgrade by one of the rating agencies, we saw the stock market fall. So what else happens? Well, the U.S. debt becomes more expensive to service, meaning that the interest rates go up. So when interest rates go up on the U.S. debt, it takes more money to pay the monthly payments on the debt. So that puts the United States further into debt. So it's a downward spiral. When your debt starts to get downgraded, it costs more money to service it. That means either your taxes are going to have to go up, your Social Security or Medicare or entitlements will be cut just to service the debt. And this is a problem and doesn't seem to be going away. We can't have the United States government not come to agreement on budget cuts or what to raise the U.S. debt level to, but it's going to continue to go up. There's been no conclusion or resolve here, and we're probably going to see further U.S. debt downgrades in the next little while. It's going to put negative pressure on the stock market, and it's, again, going to be very important that people have positions in precious metals, gold or silver, and try and make sure that is a physical holding. For those that don't know, I recommend everyone to take a look at the GLD and the SLV, which are the exchange traded funds that you can purchase. That gives you exposure to the precious metals price. You guys need to go and do some research on what the prospectus says on those exchanges. They will tell you that there is no guarantee that they hold the precious metal. In fact, I've heard of many stories of people trying to take ownership or delivery of the gold on the ETFs, and they've been denied. People sell their positions and they just go to their dealer and they go buy their physical precious metal so they can hold it, because there is more counterparty risk there as well. What I was talking about before, counterparty risk, you want to try and eliminate yourself from that. Make sure that you are holding what you believe you hold physically in your hands or in your possession. I'm not saying you have to put 100% of your money in it. Feel free to be a trader. Just be cautious of what's going on out there in the markets. And that's why we're here, to try and inform you guys and make sure that our listeners are profitable every time. That's why we put together great stock tips and calls for everyone. We've had all of our plays been going off great over the last several months. And certainly, let's take a look at what we have going on this week quick.
What we have going on this week is a continuation of a stock alert from last week. It's ticker symbol BMSPF. We brought in some excellent volume on Wednesday. A lot of attention and focus brought on the stock. They can go to www.stocklegends.com. That's legends with an S, and go under actually says ticker symbol BMSPF on the top tab. Click it. There's a full technical analysis video that's been updated since Wednesday, as well as an updated research report since Wednesday. Some good information. Was trading with some excellent liquidity. It's a short-term play. Trade smart, take profits, don't pipe dream. Those are the words of wisdom that I like to put on the table for you. Don't hold on to the stock till it goes all the way up and comes all the way back down. You can trade it multiple times. Don't trade with emotion. Take your time and enter and exit your trades professionally. I think it's a great short-term play. We've already had some phenomenal results with it. Before we go to our commercial break and introduce our first special guest, Mr. Thomas Allen, Matt, if somebody's looking to acquire gold and silver, now they can purchase gold and silver on eBay and take delivery. Might be a few dollars over the current OZ price. Any other places that you can think of offhand where somebody could go and research taking some physical delivery on some precious metals?
Well, sure. Every city should have their own dealers. You're welcome to go down and check out your local coin shops or dealers. They can order your precious metals for you. I find sometimes they may be a little bit expensive over the spot price, but you can also try a few other brokers. The JH Mint, which is done by Jason Hommel, very reputable silver analyst. You can go to his website. He runs a mint out of California. I would recommend possibly checking him out. I've purchased precious metals through the Northwest Territorial Mint. I believe it's nwtmint.com. They usually sell for right about spot price, but unfortunately sometimes there's delivery delays or they seem to have shortages of precious metals. That's one of the tough things about this market, is very often these dealers can't actually get the physical metal to meet demand because the paper price is too low for what the true intrinsic value is. People want the precious metals. If you go on eBay, I was on there the other day, the average price for an ounce of silver is about $45 for a 1 ounce bar. And that's without shipping. Look at the spot price, it's at $30. Someone explain to me where that disconnect is between the paper price and the physical precious metal price. And we will probably see that that disparity between the paper price and the precious metals price continue to grow, particularly if we see a correction in the precious metals market. Back in 2008, I had to wait 4 months just to get physical delivery of my precious metals when I bought some silver around $10 an ounce when we saw a big correction in silver, and I had to wait. The other opportunity was I could buy it for $20 an ounce and get delivery today. So that is basically what is happening in the markets.
the quantity cannot feed the demand. Well, we hope you guys picked up some great information during this segment. Right now, we're going to go to a quick commercial break and be right back with our special guest, Mr. Thomas Allen from Trader and PremierTrader.net.
Wondering about your retirement portfolio? Is your financial advisor experienced enough to combat rising interest rates, taxes, and inflation? Stop guessing and go to the expert, Robert Chapman of the International Forecaster. With 45 years of experience and concise investment recommendations, who needs sugar-coated excuses? Get the cold hard facts and a proven investment strategy. For a free introductory copy to the International Forecaster, call 877-479-8178 or go to theinternationalforecaster.com. That's 877-479-8178. 877-479-8178.
Ladies and gentlemen, during this quick commercial break, please focus your attention to ticker symbol BMSPF. Go to stocklegends.com under the ticker BMSPF tab. You will find the full research report. Also, Matt Chart put up a custom technical analysis of all of the major indexes crossed with world economics and news and his opinions based on current market conditions under the reports tab. Thank you and happy trading.
You know, it doesn't matter if you're an experienced or novice stock trader. If you make a mistake, you stand to lose everything. And to avoid even the smallest mistake, turn to StockTradersTalk.com. Membership in StockTradersTalk.com, built and run by stock traders for stock traders, is free. Benefits include dedicated chat rooms to stock tickers, real-time interactive trading and message boards, and the ability to create your own group, message board, and chat rooms. Stock Traders Talk is proud to announce that their radio show featuring live CEO interviews airs Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Interact with the show via their website. StockTradersTalk.com is your complete trading website. To get the trader's edge, go to StockTradersTalk.com and sign up now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from that short break. Next, we would like to welcome Mr. Thomas Allen, the Vice President of Trader.com. That's TRADDR.com. And also PremierTrader.net, one of the best big board day trading rooms I have personally seen. I've been in the room. It's a great place to conduct trades for NASDAQ and lower price big boards. Thomas, welcome to the Stock Legends radio show.
Hi there, Quick. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, thanks for being a guest. Now, Thomas, you're the Vice President of Trader.com. This is more or less an interactive social networking platform for all types of traders, OTC, big boards, Forex, options, you name it. When did you start this website, and what was your inspiration in the original setup?
We started it in early 2009, and the inspiration was to kind of emulate the social media phenomenon that's taken over the country in the last couple of years and apply it to day trading and swing trading in general. So whether you were a Forex trader or a big cap or small cap NASDAQ, Amex, OTC, or pink sheet trader, we're trying to kind of emulate the technology and social media phenomenon and apply it to day trading and financial markets across the country.
Now, this website, this is all business. You know, you got a huge following. You know, you've got people that actually write reports, that put charts up, forum. You've got a My Page. Why don't you tell us about the benefits once you're in the site for the average trader?
Sure, the benefits are many, and the site is absolutely free. We've never charged anything, and we don't plan on charging anything. It's an absolutely free site for people to come and exchange ideas. I mean, we like to call it an idea network, not a social network. People aren't really here to socialize. We're not here to make friends. We're not here to add friends to a buddy list. We're here to make connections and to meet other traders or, other astute individuals in the financial markets with which to exchange ideas. The site offers different functionalities such as, blog posts, videos, technical analysis videos, charting, forums, groups. So users can create their own groups around whatever kind of specific trading they might do. So if they're commodity traders, they can create a commodity group. If they're Forex traders, they can create their own Forex group and, discuss those kinds of trading strategies with other traders.
Now, there's another unique aspect to this. People that actually put their time into putting together a well thought together post. It could be anything from an issue going on globally to a U.S. issue, or it could be an in-depth chart analysis and what to expect in one of the major indexes, so on and so forth. Now, if somebody puts together something with some good material, your site automatically filters and pulls that out and sends it out to the humongous network of followers you guys have. How does that system work? I thought that was very intelligent.
Oh, thank you. Generally speaking, as it stands now, we get about 10 to 15 different contributions throughout the day, per day. So whether it's a blog post or a video, an article, or some kind of discussion, we get about 10 to 15 or so, depending on the day and, market conditions as well. What happens towards the end of the close is we'll go through the different contributions and content that's been uploaded and select what we think is the most significant, the most intelligent, the one that has perhaps the best due diligence, disseminate it to our audience. And like you said, it's a pretty vast audience. We have about 2,300 members. They're all opt-in. Everyone that joins has to be approved, so it's a very clean group. It also goes out to our Twitter following, which is near 6,000 Twitter followers, to our Facebook audience, which is around 6,000 people. It's also a great medium to promote your own content. So if you're a great contributor or a great author or a great technical analysis type person, by all means, come and submit your content and you'll get hundreds of views if it's selected that day.
Right. Now, you have a My Page section. So if I'm putting together an intense due diligence packet or a technical analysis chart, I can post that on my page. People can actually come and write opinions on that post, but then can they follow you? Can you develop a following? Like if you're an extreme chartist and you're putting the time in to actually break down these charts from a technical aspect, can you develop your own following on trader.com and people that look for your posts? And how does that work in conjunction with the My Page option?
That's a great question. Essentially, what we've tried to do is to encourage individuals to actually have and develop their own following. So if you do post things like videos, blog posts, etc., individuals can set alerts to get updates every time some user they follow posts something else, or if someone else comments on a particular article or a particular chart, they can get updates or email updates on follow-ups to that particular post, and that's completely automated.
Oh, that's excellent. So if somebody likes your style of posts, they can actually subscribe to you as a person?
Absolutely, and get, whatever updates going forward in the future. So, whether it's an email update or, what have you, it's completely customizable.
As part of your platform, this is kind of like a go-to place to spread ideas, opinions, find out what's hot in the market. There's 2,200 people, so it's not a small operation we're running here. Obviously, it's been built over many years of doing the right thing. In addition to this, you also have more or less an integrated social media platform. Now, what platforms does this cover? If you want to actually use this as your more or less homepage to be able to broadcast to multiple platforms, what platforms does it cover, and how does that integrated system work in conjunction with the posts on trader.com?
That's also a very good point. Any contributions can automatically be shared in an automated fashion to your Twitter audience. So you can sync up with your Twitter account or your Facebook account and simply go to Trader, one destination, and upload everything at the same time. No need to go to Twitter, Facebook, and Trader independently. You can just go to Trader and sync it all up from there. Also, every single post you make creates its own RSS feed. Your blogs, your videos, they all have their own RSS. So if individuals want to subscribe via RSS, they have that option as well. We're working on a functionality to include LinkedIn and Google Plus as well, but those are future developments.
Excellent. So in addition to this, you've got your go-to place for your social networking to be able to reach out to a community that's already established, 2,200 plus members. Now, the person would think, okay, that's excellent, but where do I go to really get into the profits, to dig deep? These might be some great investments ideas, some great global standpoints. You have another aspect of your business. I personally am in this room fairly often. It's called premiertrader.net, and I want to actually go through the spelling of that. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's Premiere, trader, TRADER.net. So, and what you do there is you go onto the website. It's an old school type of Merc chat room. You can also have the option to run it in Java. And how long ago did you guys create this chat room? This has been around for a long time. It's huge.
Absolutely. I mean, it was created back in 1999 when I was just a teenager. I created it with the goal of just creating a really astute room for people to come and trade. It started out as an IRC network for traders just around the world, really. It was an international forum. And back then, I guess maybe a lot of the listeners, might not recall, but, back in those days, everyone was trading. So there was a significant audience, and there was a significant number of day traders out there. So we were fortunate to get up to around 600 day traders in just one network, in one channel. And it became a really, unbiased place to get information for, whether you're a swing trader or a day trader on mid-cap and big-cap stocks. Now we're down to about 200 or so users, but it's also a free network. We've never charged, and we don't have any plans on charging either.
Now, this has been around since the 90s, right?
Precisely, around 1999, actually.
That's a long time. I've been in the room. These guys are professional traders. They're professional to the point to where you want to double and triple check your posts before you put them in the room. They're watching the waves of the markets, the sectors. They're in out of stocks that are 80 cents, to a dollar. There's some guys I think that are even putting options, puts, and calls in there. But these guys are serious traders. I've already made a ton of money with this room. For the listeners out there today that are looking for another go-to place for lower priced NASDAQ, seems to be the most abundant in that chat room. You've got a very, very intelligent group of guys that are constantly scanning. They're constantly watching the sectors. They've got their FDA calendars up. They've got, their quarterlies are honed in. I've seen in this chat room them say, hey, we're gonna flip this position to a short at $1.28. And I mean, it peaks at $1.28. They're flipping to shorts, and the stock's going right back down, almost like they've got a crystal ball. So that's where the experience comes in. When you break off by yourself, whether you're trading OTCs or you're trading options or you're trading the big boards, you want to surround yourself with people that have more intelligence than you do in the business, that you're constantly progressing. You don't want to get around guys that don't do the DD work, putting in the hours to actually bring in the profits. You want to surround yourself with high quality traders. And Premier Trader has that. So they go to premiertrader.net. Now, does that take them right to the information page?
If they're logging in via Java, it would be the live chat section, so it's only a click away. If they're privy to use IRC or Merck, they can log on via irc.premiertrader.net. The instructions are on the homepage as well. It's a really simple layout. You go to the homepage, click on Java chat, you're in the room. There's another link for MIRC instructions if you want to go in that way. Whatever floats your boat.
So if people want to contact you directly, and I didn't talk to you about this beforehand, but can they contact you on Skype if they get hung up in the process to log in? Is it okay to give out your Skype ID for them to contact you with any questions on how to get into the room?
Certainly. My handle is split, SPLIT, the number 4, TO, and the number 1 on Skype. So even though I'm fairly new to Skype, we're all about community and feedback and engagement here. So, there's a lot of hand-holding, a lot of helping. A lot of people may not know how to use IRC, but if people need help getting in the room, by all means, that's pretty standard.
So you've got a couple of great things set up here. We've got trader.com, TRADDR.com. We've got premiertrader.com, that's PREMIERETRADER.net. And, it's going to be for big boards. We want to direct all of our listeners here today to go check out those two sites. We think there's a great opportunity for networking at trader.com. You can meet some other chartists or some other fundamental players, over 2,200 members. This is a huge community. People can follow you. You can start to voice your opinion on different things and collect a gathering. And then if you're a big board trader or you're trading NASDAQs or even some options, they might want to go check out premiertrader.net. I mean, that room also is 200-300 guys, but these guys are trading with 20 or 30 grand, and they're coming in and out of trades, and they're putting their entries and exits up, and they know what they're doing.
If I may, I'd like to also add that a lot of these guys post trades. So that's what the room is about. It's not really about posting opinions or things about politics per se. It's a really professional forum to post your trades. Like you said, entry points and exit points. And that's kind of what we encourage. So whether it's, a low price NASDAQ or something that just had news, we really want to kind of encourage them to be first. And I think the IRC format, even though, like you said, it's kind of old school, it's still the most real time. And a lot of traders, I have to stress this point, for your listeners out there, have migrated over to new mediums such as Twitter, etc. But those platforms aren't as real time as IRC. So if something breaks, you might have the advantage of several milliseconds, but as we all know in trading, that can mean a lot of profit.
Oh, especially when the stocks are moving fast. And I agree with that. We want to send all of our members to premiertrader.net, to trader.com. Thomas, it's been great having you on the show today. Actually, we'd love to welcome you to come back on the radio show and be a guest host on future episodes. I really like your insight. I like your mind on the business. You're all about helping the traders. Those are the kind of people we like to lean towards. The market conditions, the way they are, these traders should be looking for some industry professionals to be able to lean on for some wisdom and some advice.
Well, thank you for the kind words, and I really appreciate you guys having me on. I've followed your site in the past, and I've always kind of wanted to be a guest thus far, so it's very exciting to have me on. I feel like the site itself, Premier Trader, is kind of a boon for traders in the fact that, like you said, back in the day, you might have had a lot of mom and pops, but because of the market conditions, we also see a positive. We see a positive in that what we're left with is this core group of traders that are really astute, because to make it thus far, you've had to be really great. And so it's kind of like survival of the fittest up to this point, where we have 200 traders, but they're probably the best and brightest in the business.
Yeah, you've got a couple guys in there that are actually really big, and they're extreme professionals. They've been trading for like 20 plus years, 25 years. I can't remember their exact names from the room. There seems to be a couple of leaders in that room that really do some calls. You know, if you're an entry level trader or to a medium level trader, you know, you never want to stop learning. You never want to stop biting off different successful people's styles. That's what brings you the profits. So you guys definitely have some professional traders in there, unlike a lot of the other rooms that maybe have 15 or 20 guys and there's not a lot of leadership. You know, they're posting to the moon and things like this. You know, you get the contrary. You know, you're going in there to trade stocks and you need to really buckle your seatbelt before you go into the room because it's fast. It's fast moving. Thomas, we'd like to thank you for coming on the Stock Legends radio show. And again, come back at any time. You're a great guest. And we want to also make sure, again, all of our listeners today go to trader.com, also premiertrader.net. At least go check them out and, you know, set up a profile and start networking. You know, as the business starts to get busier and busier, to find out where the real breakout stocks are, you have to be connected with the right people in the community and not somebody that's trying to lead you down a dark alley.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Thomas. We appreciate having you on.
Cheers.
The whispers are true. Games that are legendary. StockLegends.com.
All information posted by Stock Legends for informational purposes only and should not be construed as an offer or solicitation to offer or buy or sell securities. By listening to this radio show or this poster or this video by Stock Legends, you are accepting sole responsibility for your own investment decisions. By reading messages, doing so in videos, or listening to the radio show, you acknowledge that the information hereunto contained within this message or video provided or radio show is for general opinionated discussion and for informational purposes only, therefore should not be considered to be complete, precise, accurate, or current investment advice. Be aware that internet persons, videos, and so on, not only on the original message board where this disclaimer was discovered or in this video show, but other message boards that is not limited to the originated video of the website, may be increasing or decreasing our share positions in security regardless of what they are saying or posting or construing on this radio show, and may be compensated in some way or form by a third-party investor in the company mentioned posted in this video or radio show. The non-affiliated third parties compensated may or may not have shares to liquidate, which could affect the stock price. Assume that any security mentioned is owned by Stock Legends and may be buying or selling, adding or subtracting away from the position that they have, regardless of anything said, inferred, construed, or referred to. Believe before or after starting company profile. Always do your own due diligence prior to making investment decisions. Never borrow money and buy penny stocks. Always remember penny stocks are very risky. You could possibly lose your wife, keys, car, house, and everything else that comes along with it. Also, be aware that information provided concerning certain securities contains forward-looking statements that involve risks and uncertainties. As in any investment, never invest in a penny stock unless you can afford to lose your full or entire investment. We completely oblige by the Fifth Amendment for this full entire show.